There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thanks. Please be seated. Order. Honorable members, the only item on today's order paper is questions addressed to the President. Members may press the talk button on their desks if they wish to ask a supplementary question. The first question has been asked by the Honorable
Speaker. Before you start, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask a question for clarity. On the question paper.
What is the question for clarity?
Thanks, Madam Speaker. When you look at a question paper, you will recognize that the symbols and the marking of the question paper, when you go to the question of EFF, the star is not clear. So we need a clarity. What does that mean?
There are stars next to each of the questions, and they only indicate a question for oral reply.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Gadi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In terms of the order of prioritization of the questions, and in terms of the rule on questions to the President, it is such that at the end of the 2 hours, the question by the EFF may not actually be entertained today. It can be that we have got parties that will ask 2 or 3 questions each from the beginning to the end, such that EFF's questions may not be answered today by the President. And we need the answer to that question. Can it be that because it is not in the rule, and in terms of the voter outcome of the 7th of May 2014, that it's ANC, it's DA, and the third largest party becomes number 3 on its question than to be number 6? I thank you.
The answer to that issue that Honorable Gadi is raising is contained in the document, announcements, tablings, and committee reports of the Thursday, 26 June 2014. And that is where the question of the sequence for members' statements and questions for oral reply was agreed and determined. And the order of the question paper today is as a result of the agreement as reflected on the document of the ATC Thursday, 26 June 2014. That's what guides the order, the sequence as reflected in this question paper. So we will now...
Madam Speaker,
Honorable
Madam
Gadi.
Speaker, if I may address you on that ATC. The National Assembly is governed in terms of the rules.
Honorable Gadi.
That agreement cannot overrule the application of the rules.
Honorable Gadi, this matter was settled in a structure which is a structure of the National Assembly, and all orders, all sequences were followed from the beginning, from that time of the agreed order and sequence to this day. We've been following the sequence as reflected on this ATC.
Honorable
Gadi.
Speaker.
And honorable members,
Honorable Speaker.
we have come here to entertain questions to the President. And I really now have been patient and have given you,
we're with you, Honorable
the
Speaker.
attention that
we
you
want.
seek.
We're rising to ask that this House must have the highest authority over anyone, over small and big committees. We're saying that South Africans know you have all colluded to put this question as number 6 so that it's not answered by the time finishes. It must come in after the DA question so that the South Africans are able to hear President Zuma respond as to whether he's going to pay back them, when is he going to pay back the money. That is what we are asking. We are contesting the order. It is allowed by the rules. We are contesting the order in this House. We are not agreeing to this collusion you are all subjecting us to with others you are agreeing to. We want our question to be prioritized because it's as important as being the 3rd largest party in this House. That's all we are saying, and you must rule on that, because this House can take that decision. It's not true that just because ATC, just because the program or whatever committee met where you are many, South Africans must know you put that question last because you don't want to be answered. So we want it to be prioritized. You must rule on that. We'll even divide this House.
Honorable Swart.
Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order. Madam Speaker, the ACDP was denied the opportunity of putting a question on this precise issue last time due to the disruption of the EFF. So, Madam Speaker, they cannot complain today that their question will be crowded out. If it is so, because we're wasting time now. Our question was crowded out last time. They could have the same opportunity. Let's continue with the questioning, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, I wish to place it on record that there's been absolutely no collusion with anybody, as the Honourable Nkandla is alleging. If there was a collusion,
On a point of order, Madam Speaker. On a point of speaker.
If there was any
Honorable Gadi, can you take your seat?
There is no Honorable Nkandla. They have voted with the ANC that we should be assaulted today.
He got kicked out last month. It's hard to keep up. To say to you, Madam Speaker, that if there was any collusion that took place, it took place last year when the sequence was agreed by all parties, and the EFF agreed to that sequence in the Chief Whip's Forum and the subsequent adoption of it. It served us well you will remember at the last sitting, the Democratic Alliance, despite being the 2nd largest party in South Africa, did not have a question on the order paper, because that is how the sequence works. You can't come here now and try hugger-mugger to change things around just because you've got to. That we will get to the EFF's question. The only limitation on President's questions, there's no time limitation. It's limited to 6 questions. So whether we sit here till 10 o'clock this evening, we will get to the EFF's question. So why are they trying again to obstruct the business of Parliament for theatrics?
Actually, I want to...
But Speaker, DA must be corrected here.
I wish to emphasize
they must be corrected.
Honorable...
The DA, there was a time when they were opposed to anybody being physically removed in this House. You changed your mind. Why can't we change our mind about the agreements that we had last year? It's a new era. We know you are colluding to suppress, pay back the money. You must not be smart with us here. You change your mind all the time. We don't think this question was put number 6 because of an ATC. This question was put number 6 because you don't want it to be answered. We want it to be prioritized because we want to pay back the money.
I wish to emphasize that the President always finishes all 6 questions. He has never not answered any question when in fact the House does proceed to deal with questions. And that's what I wish to do now.
Honorable Speaker, now that you have made the assurance that all the 6 questions are going to be responded to, let's go on, because we want that question to be answered. We want to know, when is he paying back the money? It's as simple as that.
The first question, honorable members, has been
Honorable
asked.
Speaker, on a point of order.
No, honorable.
No, Honorable Speaker, you have a duty to protect us. An honorable member stands there. My mic
Your
is
chief
off.
whip has said that we should
My mic
proceed
is off.
now.
I'm rising
because
on-
you have been assured
Yeah, no problem.
that your question will definitely be
No,
reached
but I want to
and
correct.
will be answered. So I now
Honorable Speaker.
No, you must correct that member there. Don't switch off our mics.
Somebody
Hey!
switch off the mics here.
Don't switch off our mics, please.
Don't switch off the mics.
Don't do that.
Honorable Speaker, the
honorable
mic
members,
is off. Honorable Speaker.
the question
Honorable
has been
Speaker,
asked by the honorable L.S. Makubela
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on a different matter. My mic is off.
Please take a seat, honorable Malema.
Yes,
Honorable Malema, please take a seat.
Oh, democracy is good.
Honorable Speaker, there is an honorable member there from one of the smallest parties who stood up and said the previous session was disrupted by the EFF. There is no legitimate body that has arrived at such a conclusion, and therefore he has got no authority, none whatsoever, to stand up and make that statement as a statement of fact. We ask him that he withdraws now, and if he refuses to withdraw, we ask you to make a ruling on that speaker, even if it's not now, maybe after the president has answered the questions.
Yes, honorable member, I will look into that. I now call upon the president to respond to the question of Honorable Makubela Mashile.
Honorable Speaker, the 7th BRICS Summit in Ufa, Russia, registered substantive progress. A key achievement was the entry into force of the BRICS financial institutions, namely the new development bank and the contingent reserve arrangements. Two leading South African bankers have been appointed to the board of the new bank. They are Mr. Leslie Mastrop as one of the vice presidents and Mr. Tito Mboweni as one of the non-executive directors. The next exciting initiative is the establishment of the African Regional Center of the bank in Johannesburg. South Africa is proud to host the regional center, and preparations are at an advanced stage.
On a point of order, Speaker. Madam Speaker, on a point of order, this is really now a critical point of order, and I will not tolerate that a white man to come and speak like that too. I will not tolerate it. How dare he? How dare he? He's swearing here at the door at us. How dare he? I will not tolerate that language from him.
Achtbare Speaker.
Let's go outside and moor each other.
Achtbare Speaker.
I'll not tolerate that.
You're most welcome. Toe ek wou inkom, toe 'n achtbare lid my gestamp daarso, toe ek sê moet my nie stamp.
Honorable members, none of you have been given the floor actually. And I prevail on you, please, to allow this question session to proceed. Awuhlale phansi Mama uKhawula. Can the President proceed?
The summit also reaffirmed the importance of BRICS in the global arena. BRICS presents an aggregate GDP exceeding 32 trillion US dollars. This marks a 60% growth since the formation of the grouping. BRICS also accounts for almost 30% of the global GDP and produces a third of the world's industrial products and 1/2 of agricultural goods. In further progress, trade among the BRICS countries has grown by 70% since 2009. BRICS countries also attracted 20.5% of global total direct investment in 2014 compared to only 16.9% in 2009. The share of BRICS capital investment on the global markets has also increased significantly from 9.7% to 14% since 2009. BRICS leaders also adopted as one of the key summit outcomes a strategy for BRICS economic partnership aimed at further boosting trade and investment ties. Honorable Speaker, the UFA declaration focuses on important themes such as global politics, world finance, economy and trade, cooperation in the social and humanitarian spheres, as well as among parliaments, business, and civil societies. The declaration also highlighted the upcoming 70th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations and reaffirmed commitment to the UN as a universal multilateral organization entrusted with promoting global peace, security, human rights, and socio-economic advancement. The summit also provided an opportunity for BRICS leaders to meet with the leadership of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the EU-Asia Economic Union. The regional leaders were invited as part of the new practice that was started by South Africa when we invited the African Union leaders to the Durban BRICS Summit in 2013. We stand ready to expand our economic cooperation with these partners in key areas such as food production, power generation, the petrochemical industry, mining, tourism, renewable and nuclear energy, trade, transportation, communications, and training. I thank you, Madam Chair. Speaker.
On this question, I now call upon Honorable Makubela Mashele to ask a supplementary question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you to you, Honorable President, for your comprehensive response to my question. There are many countries, especially those of emerging economies, who seek clarity on how this new developmental bank of BRICS will conduct its business. Moreover, we hope that this bank will adopt a pro-poor developmental agenda which can be used as a vehicle to transfer skills for operational and developmental agendas of these emerging economies. Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The BRICS Development Bank has been established by the members of BRICS who saw the need that there must be a bank that focuses on development, particularly of the third world. But it does not only deal with the third world, it will deal with anyone who comes to seek support from the bank. It has been welcomed by all. Firstly, the big world banks have received the BRICS Bank very well. They see it as an important additional factor in the global financial transactions. But countries that have been disadvantaged for years are more happier. That is the reason why in the summit of BRICS in Durban, leaders of the AU, particularly those who lead specific projects, were invited to exchange views with the BRICS leaders. And this issue was discussed. And the leaders of BRICS said the bank was at their disposal. It is going to be utilized to help quicken the pace of development in the developing countries in particular, and of course deal with any other project. So it is a bank that many countries are looking forward to do business with, particularly the regional bank that is going to be in South Africa is in the main looked at as a bank that would be very close to African challenges. And I think it's going to be more busy with the projects and development of the continent. We should include, among others, the financing of the infrastructure in the continent, as well as other projects. So the bank is not here to compete with any other bank. It's here with one objective and one objective only, to assist those who are in need without leaving problems resolved. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Kubisa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable President, I understand that an ordinary citizen, the African or South African citizen or African citizen, there on the ground is saying the most important challenges for the country are unemployment, hunger, starvation, poverty. And he or she is asking, now that South Africa has committed so many billions into the bank, what is it that I will benefit from that transaction? Can the Honorable President tell an ordinary South African there and say, this is what will be the dividends for you as a citizen?
Honorable President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I'm not sure whether I could give the smallest details of what the bank will do. All I know is that this bank is coming in the midst of many banks that are there. And what it is going to do is going to provide developmental finances to projects that will therefore create employment. It means if you look at the bank, you are looking at the bank that is not going to be dealing with the people, the ordinary people, in the manner in which they have experienced in their lives. This bank is hoped that it will create conducive conditions for big projects and perhaps small projects, so that it should be easy to get the projects going and therefore create employment. And if I was a South African sitting somewhere, I would be saying I'm looking forward to a bank that is going to operate differently. In other words, a bank that will assist those who want to start projects of a developmental nature. And that means once the projects are funded and started, as I said, it means jobs are being created. And as a South African, I would say, I hope I will get a job.
Honorable Mainir.
Thank you, Speaker. Now, President Zuma's new best friend in the BRICS, President Vladimir Putin, has in the last year annexed the Crimea, invaded the Ukraine, and wait for it, supports Sepp Blatter. He loves power, he hates freedom, and he thrives on corruption. And that is why President Zuma feels so at home in Russia and the BRICS. So my question to the President is, does the President not agree that the 25 billion we will sink into the new development bank should be spent here in South Africa to create jobs rather than sunk into the new development bank and spent on, for example, fixing the roads in Malawi?
The Honorable the President.
Well, I realize that the Honorable Member knows Putin very well. I'm not sure whether the description given is a correct one. I'm not sure. If we were to talk politics, and I'm sure we could go very far, but that's not the time for politics. But the reality is we are part of BRICS, and BRICS has plans to develop and help the developing countries. And we looked at the bank from that point of view. It had to have the seed money so that it operates. And all those who are going to be doing business with the BRICS Bank, in other words, the BRICS Bank will be able to raise the fund that will assist in the main members states of the BRICS Bank, and South Africans will benefit out of it. I said in the initial response how much the intertrade between the BRICS bank has grown in the last few years. We are benefiting out of it. All the members are benefiting. And will benefit with those billions that we've put in. And if you are a business person, not even a state, for your business to go, you put capital, not so. It's a normal routine. I don't know what it begs for a question. That's what you do. If we open a bank, we must capitalize it so that the bank will be stronger to deal with the problems we have. And that's what we have done, nothing more. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The last supplementary question will come from the Honorable Maxson.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Maxson had said that we should ask the question. Now, President, the greatest threat to any form of international development has been found by the global financial integrity, by the high level on illicit financial flows, to be the tax-based erosion. I want to know how we're going to deal with that phenomenon. What is your government's approach to dealing with tax-based erosion and profit shifting? Because that is the greatest threat to any form of international development. And the second question is that now recently there's an issue of trade policy which you must deal with within the BRICS component. Now, ArcelorMittal has said that you should reduce tariffs, or you must actually increase tariffs of all steel that is coming from China. Are you going to increase the tariffs in order to limit the steel which is coming from China in order to save the jobs which Mittal Steel said are going to be saved? So the two questions are, what is your government's approach on tax-based erosion? And the second question is, how are you going to deal with the issues of trade policy, particularly the tariff increases on products that come from China?
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, the issue of how trade moves in the world, I think is determined by the market forces on one side. There is a role that governments play on the other. We are in a system that moves in a particular way that people in the world should respond to. You can't be a country that moves on its own whilst the system moves in a particular direction. Whether we are talking about tax erosions or whatever. Even in your own country, we have a system that affects tax systems, that makes countries to be able to move forward as countries. If you come to the issue of whether you deal with the issue of the iron ore in terms of what happens when it goes out or in, the company we are quoting is a company that has been mining here, still mining, metals that you quoted, which has difficulties right now. And we've been dealing with that issue because the arrangement that have been made before were the arrangement that has brought problems to the very company. And therefore, those are matters that company is discussing with the government, the specifics about the plight of the company. And therefore, the issue of the steel as well. We are discussing what to do with the steel. We have not made a conclusion that we can say here is policy that is now taken, because right now we are dealing with these issues and the commodities that are indeed in trouble. And there is discussions. Within BRICS, part of the reason we're a group of BRICS, because those are matters we've got to talk about. How do we deal with trade between these countries in this group so that we are in a better position as a country to have the favorable conditions that we can trade? Some of the trade issues are in fact determined by international organizations. So we are part of the process that must be part of negotiations and interactions in different kind of relationships. In BRICS, the relations are different. There's WTO that is also having its own, and we are part of it. There are international organizations that determine how trade must go between countries, as well as bilateral relations between countries. That's how it is. Thank you.
Honorable members, I'd like to draw your attention to Rule 1137. When it comes to supplementary questions, honorable members must limit themselves to one supplementary question. We now come to question number 14, which has been asked by the leader of the opposition, Honorable Maimane.
Honorable Speaker, the Alliance Summit Declaration affirms the importance of an independent judiciary as one of the critical pillars upon which our constitutional democracy is premised. As the ANC government, we have gone to great lengths to preserve and safeguard the separation of powers, and in particular, the independence of the judiciary, which is pivotal for the advancement of the rule of law. In this regard, government has taken measures to defend and protect the courts to ensure their independence, impartiality, dignity, accessibility, and effectiveness. One of the key interventions was the enactment of the Constitution 17th Amendment Act of 2012 and the Superior Courts Act of 2013, which affirm the Constitutional Court as the highest court in the Republic and the Chief Justice as the head of the Judiciary. These affirmations put beyond doubt the independence of the judiciary and the role of the courts as the final arbiter entrusted with the power of judicial review. Another major policy reform was the establishment of the Office of the Chief Justice as a national department in August 2010. These measures are important milestones in the 21 years of democracy. They attest to the government's unequivocal commitment to the separation of powers and the independence of the judiciary in particular. Honorable Speaker, the late Chief Justice Chaskelson made a profound pronouncement on the separation of powers and the respect that all three arms of the state must accord one another in the famous Van Rooyen judgment. He said, and I quote, "In a constitutional democracy such as ours, in which the Constitution is the supreme law of the Republic, substantial power has been given to the judiciary to uphold the Constitution. In exercising such powers, obedience to the doctrine of the separation of powers requires that the judiciary, in its comments about the other arms of the state, show respect and courtesy. In the same way that these other arms are obliged to show respect for and courtesy to the judiciary and one another. They should avoid gratuitous reflections on the integrity of one another. Unquote. This is instructive as we prepare for the meeting of the judiciary and the executive to discuss working relations between the two arms of the state later this month, which I will host. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
President Siabulis, crucial to this issue is that, Mr. President, when you took oath as President of the Republic, you swore to the people of this country that you will uphold the law, you will guard and protect the Constitution. Now, President, Section 165 of the Constitution gives the courts powers that an order of the court is binding on any person and any organ of state. So, Mr. President, what I'm trying to understand here is that in 2010, you were in this house, in this podium, and the question was asked to you whether if Omar al-Bashir would come to South Africa, you would arrest him. Mr. President, here is your response as per Hansard here in this parliament. You said South Africa respects international law and certainly are signatories, and we would abide by the law. Mr. President, my struggle here today is that what has changed since 2010, that recently, in contravention of a high court order that said your government should have in fact arrested Omar al-Bashir, a man wanted for war crimes, for genocide against Africans, your government assisted in allowing him to leave South Africa. What has in fact changed? And therefore, Mr. President, my question to you is, in respecting the principle of the separation of powers, do you not believe that the executive, led by you, overreached and ultimately violated that sacred principle of the separation of powers by assisting Omar al-Bashir to leave?
The Honorable, the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Certainly, I gave the answer, and the answer stands, that I gave when I was here. No Bashir has come to South Africa on the invitation of South Africa to come and do business in South Africa. Bashir is coming to South Africa. It was by invitation of the AU. And the AU, once it is here, he is the guest of the AU. Because when the AU was here,
order,
having asked to hold the summit here, where the AU will be operating, as it happens in the United Nations, that becomes the area of the AU. That's why the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, 10 days before, he gazetted the area that will be the AU area, from the airport to the specific areas where heads of state will be staying. So Bashir was here for the AU, not visiting South Africa, as I said when I was here.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
No, Honorable.
No. The President is saying the airport and Sandton. Omar Bashir left through Waterkloof. It's important that we answer this question.
I didn't say the airport and
Honorable Maimane,
I said
you
the
don't
areas
actually
where
have
the
the
AU
right
will be
to speak.
operating. That is the difference, my brother. Bashir did not come to South Africa on the invitation of South Africa. He came here to do continental business invited by the Continental Organization. We have no right to violate the AU rules.
I now go to the next supplementary question. Honorable Msimang of the IFP.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable President, you have referred to the legislation since 2010, 2012, and 2013, and you have assured this House that that legislation was effective enough to protect the separation of powers in the three spheres of government. The concern of the IFP is that, in spite of the legislation you referred to, this year we still get malicious criticism of the judiciary. So what should happen to protect the dignity and the authority of the judiciary? Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, the discussion is slightly maybe problematic if we generalize, because I wouldn't know what specific case the honorable member is talking about. There has been criticisms in all directions and opinions or comments made. Certainly, if there have been comments that interfere with that law or that act, certainly we'll need to bring the matter on the table to discuss. And if we know who did so, to say to them that is never done. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Rale Kuma.
Honorable President, now that you will be meeting with the judiciary on the 27th August 2015, do you intend to raise the question of unwarranted comments that have been made by some judges outside of the courts that might have precipitated the alleged or real undermining of the judiciary and the erosion of the principle of separation of powers?
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I don't think I need to discuss the agenda that will take place between the judges and the judiciary rather, and the executive. I think we should leave that matter for that meeting. I think it would not be wise that I start dealing with the media when I'm going to deal with the judiciary in a meeting. Certainly, if there are issues on both sides that have brought dissatisfaction, that is a moment to discuss the matters. But I don't think I would want to dwell on the matters here, on the content. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Olomisa. It looks like Honorable Olomisa is not in the house. All right, he's happy to pass. There's another member I could take, Honorable Chiwane.
Thank you very much.
The last time I checked, you were Honorable Malema.
No, the SG press Chewani's thing, so he said I can ask a question.
It's all right.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I like this question because when the rule to remove members from parliament was passed and supported by the DA, they said they want to ask the question about al-Bashir. And you answered the question about al-Bashir, and then what? Finished. You know, there's nothing that's going to happen. The question about al-Bashir has been answered, and then what? There is a rule permanently to remove members of parliament in the name of al-Bashir. But the real question I want to ask you is, the Minister Ntleko said the judges meet with certain people to produce certain judgments. Yes. A sitting minister says that. You know, I'm sympathetic to Honorable Nzimande because he might be articulating that in a different capacity of the party, and the ANC has got a right to express itself on any matter that affects South Africa. But a cabinet minister who's got no any other excuse except to say he was speaking to a group of independent police investigative directorate. It was an official duty. And in that official duty says, judges meet with certain people to produce certain judgments. What is your comment about that? Have you condemned the Honorable Minister? And Mr. President, on al-Bashir, I'm happy you did not arrest him. We're not going to agree for the arrest of an African leader in South Africa to polarize Africa and make South Africa the enemy of the whole of Africa. But I do not agree with violation of a court order. The proper argument you have advanced now is the argument your people should have advanced in appealing the earlier judgment against al-Bashir. But we are happy you did not arrest him. Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
No, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. While on the matter of al-Bashir, we can talk more about that. I appreciate your views about it, but we can have time to talk about that. But with regard to the minister, unfortunately, I didn't hear the minister. It's the first time I hear. It's literally the first time I hear. Now, it's going to be very difficult that I don't know under what circumstance that was said. Was it said at all? I don't think I can stand and judge. If I had, I'm sure I would have interacted with the minister. But I did not hear. It's the first time actually I hear that. Thank you very much.
But President, no, with due respect, Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable
I brought the matter to your attention. Please attend to this man. He's compromising you. Ntleko, please.
Honorable members, we now come to question number 15 from the Honorable Advocate B.T. Bongo to the President. The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The principle of African solutions to African problems embodies the fundamental commitment of African leaders to take full responsibility for the fate of the continent and its peoples. In the advancement of this principle of African solutions to African problems, the African Union established the African Peace and Security Council architecture in 2002. This mechanism encompasses the Peace and Security Council, the African Standby Force, the Continental Early Warning System, the Peace Fund, and the Panel of the Wise. The African Standby Force will enable the AU to intervene in a number of states in grave circumstances such as war crimes, genocide, or crimes against humanity. Africa also utilizes the mechanism of regional involvement in the search for solutions. Examples of this approach can be found in recent and current conflict situations such as in South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Lesotho, to mention a few. In these cases, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development in East Africa, the Southern African Development Community, and the International Conference of the Great Lakes region are some of the sub-regional organizations that were able to address security issues in their regions as they emerged. The principle of African solution to African problems does not, however, preclude the continent from working with the United Nations and other global partners. This is appreciated and understood by the United Nations as illustrated by UN Resolution 2033 of 2012, where the UN Security Council commits to taking the cue from the African Union Peace and Security Council and taking decisions before the AU pronouncements itself on the matters at hand. In principle of African solutions to African problems also enables the establishment of norms and principles that also address issues such as political accountability, rejection of unconstitutional changes of government, the promotion of peaceful resolution of conflicts, as well as the post-conflict reconstruction and development, all of which are central to conflict resolution. Honorable Speaker, in the South African context, we proudly applied the principle of African solutions to African problems during our own process of the transition from apartheid colonialism to democracy. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, I didn't want to interrupt the President, but the Honourable Malema has misled the House. The President has answered his question, and now what? Nothing.
Order, Madam Speaker. A point of order, Madam Speaker.
He didn't even break his bench. He
Honorable
didn't sing.
Gadi,
He didn't dance.
you
nothing.
can't raise a point of order on top of another one, please.
I'm just
Can
making
you
the
finish,
point that
Honourable Member, because
I will finish, Speaker.
I'm just
the
hearing
point.
you commenting. I'm not hearing
just-
a point of order.
My point of order is that he misled the House. Nothing's going to happen to his questions either.
I call upon Honourable Pongo to raise a supplementary question.
No, Honorable Speaker, you have to rule on this man who mentions me, because I don't understand why I'm mentioned in a manner I'm mentioned. with serious allegation of having misled the country. So please rule on that because he's out of order. If he's out of order, you must tell him he's out of order.
Actually, the rule is that the word deliberately would have been wrong. He has not, therefore, accused you of anything unparliamentary because he has not said you deliberately misled the House. That's what the rule requires. So he was just commenting. And
Honorable Speaker, I accept the ruling. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Pongo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Your Excellency, President Zuma, thank you very much for your elaborate and comprehensive response. May the President kindly share with the House as to when will the African Rapid Response Force be operationalized, and to what extent will it assist in resolving and/or minimizing some of the conflicts that are currently affecting the continent and that will affect the continent in the future? Thank you once more, President.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I wouldn't be able to know the exact date when will it be ready, but in terms of the discussions by the AU leaders, when it was clear that the standby force, which has been discussed for a long time, was taking longer, whilst the problems were occurring at different places, there was a discussion then to establish in the meantime the immediate rapid force that would be utilized. What people were faced with, how are you going to finance or fund such a force? Because the standby force that is taking too long to complete, there will be a kind of an arrangement as to how it will be financed. So countries in Africa that were keen to have the rapid reaction force, they then discussed the matter and felt that countries that will be members of this force will certainly contribute from their own coffers so that it is able to operate to stop the pockets of tensions in the continent. The work is going on. According to the report given by the chiefs of different countries of the army, they had thought that before this year ends, it will be operational. So we are waiting to hear that, and I think it should be, according to their report, be operational before December. But as to what date, I wouldn't be able to offer the date. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Mwango.
Thank you, Honorable President. Honorable President, we speak of African solutions to African problems. But where is the continental political will to address problems like the conflicts in Burundi, for instance, and the outbreak of Ebola in the West Coast? Since this phrase entered the African lexicon in 2007, it has proved to be of no real value to the continent or its people. It has been said that its sole value has been the advance of zero-sum interest. What are you doing, Mr. President, to ensure real, not face value, African solutions to African problems?
The Honorable the President.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Well, I don't entirely agree with the Honorable Member. that there has been no effort to do so. I think there has been a lot of efforts, including the two examples that he referred to. For an example, Ebola. Africa came together, and the countries don't have the same resources, and actually individually participated in helping the countries where Ebola was, including the Continental Medical Organization, met to discuss and find ways and means to assist, helped by other countries outside of the continent. As South Africa also, I don't think it is not known that we made a contribution to address that problem as a country. And countries where Ebola was, in the last summit, they were actually thanking the African countries of the contributions they made to that problem, which was more here in Africa, more than any other place. So that cannot be made as an example that nothing was done. As well as Burundi, I think once the president of Burundi said he was going to stand and there was a problem there, many of us interacted with him and other Burundians to say that might not help the country. It ended up with a summit of the East African countries where South Africa was invited to participate, to discuss the matter. We can't say there was no effort put to try to solve that African problem. Whether the leader of the country who operates within his own constitution, because when we say we want African solutions to African problems, we are not saying we're going to go roughshod to constitutions and other things that people are saying in their own countries. We can't do so. There is a limit to which you can go. We met. I sent I think I was among the first to send an envoy to go and talk to him. And I said, I think the decision you have taken is going to lead the country into trouble. Also because of my knowledge of Burundi. He said, well, it's not going to cause trouble. He has taken a decision. The constitution is on his side. The court has pronounced that this is a constitutional matter. So once you reach that stage, you can't force yourself. In other words, if your efforts of participating as an African to find an African solution, an African leader is not interested in that one, that becomes difficult. I just wanted to make that kind of difference. Because every other problem that has emerged, we have tried to move as Africans to address those matters. It does not mean we'll solve all matters at the right time. I think we have solved a lot of matters in relation to that, and we can count a number of them. So I wouldn't agree that this kind of expression has not been respected or practiced. It has been practiced. It has helped Africa in a large measure, rather than few incidences where people did not agree. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Maxson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. President, South Africa under your leadership has descended into shallow than pit levels in as far as promoting African sovereignty and African solutions to African problems. It was your government, Mr. President, who voted with imperialists for the killing of Muammar Gaddafi under Resolution 1973. Within the country, we have presided over apartheid-style human rights violation, including the killing of workers in Markan, whom you claim deserved to die because they had also killed people, and the shooting of those who protest in demand of government services. You also said that if people resort to violence during strikes, you will be forced to revisit apartheid-era crowd control measures, including the rule in this parliament to assault EFF members. Who is holding you accountable for your sins, Mr. President? Now, do you share the view that under your leadership, the country has descended into a police state that kills its people to protect the interest of the few?
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, the Honorable Member is counting a lot of incidents that have happened, which have different circumstances, all of them. Lalela phela mawungalaleli angizukutshena lutho because I'm talking now. Manje mangikhuluma na ukhuluma ububuzelani ke? How?
Madam Speaker, it's me who have asked the President, and I'm listening attentively. I don't know what he is talking about.
Can you just continue listening?
Madam Speaker, I'm talking to the members who are talking. I'm talking to the members who are talking. I don't think we should.
Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable
I'm
Shivambu.
answering the question, and I'm
Honorable
saying people.
Shivambu, please allow the President to answer Honorable Matson's question.
On a point of order.
What is the point of order, Honorable
In terms
Shivambu?
of parliamentary rules, we are allowed to converse amongst each other. And that is what we're doing. And you are the ones who must tell us if we're making noise. You have not done so yet. All of us are speaking.
That's
here,
not a point. Honorable Shivambu, please, we have heard you. The President is ready to answer the Honorable Matson.
Answer questions, please.
He's ready to answer. Please take your seat. Honorable President.
No, on a point of order, Chair. No, Honorable Speaker. The President directly referred to us here, directly spoke to members. Everybody must speak through you. The President must respect the rules of this House.
Honorable.
So call him to order. Don't be afraid. Call him to order. He's
Honorable
out of order.
Dozie.
Or we're going to get those securities to remove him here. If he's not going to abide by the rules.
Honorable Dozie.
You can't speak to us directly. He must speak to us through you. That's how we deal with things here. Please.
Honorable Dozie,
Please
thank you very
call
much.
the President to order. Don't be scared. I'm
Thank
here.
you very much,
I'll
Honorable
assist you.
Please proceed, Honorable President.
Point of order.
Firstly,
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Honorable.
Sorry, point of order. The gallery.
Honorable.
Madam Speaker, the
Point
gallery.
of order, Madam Speaker.
No, Honorable Kadi, I'm listening to the point of order.
She is out of order, that one. That one is out of order. If she doesn't have members on the gallery, she must just shut up and sit down. Sit down.
Honorable
She even voted that we should be beaten here. That one.
Honorable Kadi, take your seat.
Yeah, she must sit down.
You must sit down, Honorable Kadi. Honorable Dudley.
Madam Speaker, just to mention that the gallery is participating in all of the discussions.
Yes, I think it's a correct point to raise, and I would like to appeal to the Honorable Gallery that the guests in the gallery are welcome, but they are not expected to participate by clapping, because that is a political activity reserved for the floor here. But I really want to welcome the honorable guests in the gallery. The Honorable President.
Honorable Speaker.
What now, Honorable Malema?
No, with due respect, Honorable Speaker.
What is it?
He raised a very important point. And that the President speaks to us directly and he must speak to us through you. It's a simple thing we're asking you to tell the President so that the President doesn't repeat that mistake. Or speaking to us. Because if he does that, we're going to be speaking to him like that and then you lose control.
No, Honorable Malema, please take your seat. We've heard what the Honorable Member said. Honorable President, please continue answering the question.
Firstly, Madam Speaker, on the examples that the Honorable Member gave, and I wish the Honorable Member had all the information. When the Security Council voted on the matter of Libya, firstly, at that time, we had the right to vote on a matter that was raised in the first instance by the Arab League in the Security Council. It was not raised by other people. It had been discussed, what do we do? At that time, there was an imminent clash as Gaddafi was making threats. The voting on the matter was to avoid what was being said, that he was going to flush out the cockroaches, etc., etc. That's the language he used. It was important to participate in a vote to save the lives. What the big countries did, abused that kind of decision. At that time, AU had worked out a roadmap which was saying, let us solve that problem in the manner in which the African organization had agreed. And I was part of that committee. We went as far as Tripoli to engage Gaddafi, not once, because it was important that we, in a sense, diffuse that situation from an African point of view. That was undermined by NATO members who used that resolution to attack and finally kill Gaddafi. So we did not vote for Gaddafi to be killed. That issue has been as clear as anything. The resolution was debated in the Security Council with the participation of the Arab Leagues, with the participation of, there were 3 African countries that were taking that decision. We did not vote for either the war to continue or the attacks or the bombing. The countries that voted was to stop the threats or the attack emerging out of the threats that had been made. I just thought it's important to put the facts straight. Well, they're very important. With regard to Marikana, what had happened, Marikana, there was a strike. What happened? Then the workers who were armed to the teeth, who had already used those weapons to kill innocent people, about 10 of them had died. The police were then trying to stop them, not to have that kind of killing continuing. How the police handled that matter, that has been a subject of a commission of inquiry and their findings. Because the police had acted in a particular way, and I'm not a judge. The matter that we are referring to, I was responding to a person who was heckling in a meeting. Because the heckling was as if the police came and just mauled the people who were just innocently sitting. And I was saying the police were stopping the further killing because 10 people had died. I was explaining that point. With regard to how the members of the EFF were taken out of parliament forcefully, really, I was standing here. I did not take any decision of that nature. It's not within my... I was here where I am. So you can't blame me for that. And the country has not gone down. The country is moving ahead, is developing, is fine. So it's not true that the country ever since me is now going down. I don't agree. It's not. Country's being governed very responsibly. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Mukhalapa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mr. President, African solutions to African problems should be about consistency and fairness in application of the rules. We are observing security and political crises all across Africa recently. You've just mentioned the crisis in Burundi. And in some instances, the African leaders have been lackluster and even failed outright to resolve some of these crises. Like, for example, leaders who overstay in power. Worse so, the African Union even passed a resolution excluding sitting heads of states and senior government officials from facing prosecution on crimes against humanity, which you shamelessly supported at the AU. Mr. President, I think that it is more accurate to say that Africa decides to bring selective solutions to selective African problems, same as you did and you selected with the option of not arresting the war crimes accused Omar al-Bashir, which you were duty-bound, sir. The question is, in what way is South Africa truly ensuring that its influence on the continent ensures that peace and justice is fairly and not selectively applied? I thank you.
The Honorable the President.
No, thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. Now, firstly, the application of the principle is not selective. I've just explained that situations are not the same. And you can't, if a particular country has a view and you walk in there, you force them to do what we think they should do. We are applying democratic principles: persuasion, convincing, influencing. If they don't do that, you can't force them. You can't go and bomb them and say, I'm forcing you to do this. It can't be. And I think we have succeeded to do so. Africa has moved where it was. There are now coups in Africa are no longer an accepted phenomenon. And we are agreed on that one as the African countries. No military man can take over as it used to be. That has been the influence that many countries, including South Africa, has been exercising in the continent. We have a peer review mechanisms where countries volunteer to be evaluated by their peers who can be very critical if there are things that are being wrongly done. And it is gaining momentum all the time. So there are many successes on this principle. There will be few exceptions. We agree to that. We are not saying like Burundi, where even its own regions could not succeed to pursue. Like those who may be wanting to stay longer. But I think even if you are talking to Burundi, the man is not saying I'm going to stay longer forever. He has argued the point through a constitutional point, and court has supported him. The judiciary has supported him. That is correct. And is insisting, therefore, to implement the decision of court. So there is a dynamic there that you are not looking at. If it did not, you would be saying they don't respect the court rulings. There is a judge ruling that was made on the issue of Burundi. Whether you are agreed with it or not is a different matter because of the situation in Burundi. You can count a few countries to say what happens. For an example, there have been developments in other countries wherein one of the leaders there in front of all of us, because he felt there are things he still needs to do, he went to the people and asked for a referendum. And the people said, you stay. That's democracy. And then he has gone to parliament to enact a law to make that legal, because the people have said so. So there are different circumstances. That has just happened in Rwanda. uyajabula when was putting a plan. So all I'm saying, the principle has worked to a large extent. I did not say 100%. I said to a large extent it has worked. And it is a fact. I've been engaged with other leaders in the continent discussing these issues and many, many, many other issues. So I don't think I will agree with a notion that says this principle is not working. It is working. And it has worked largely in the continent. And we are working on it. We can't force people. We've got to talk to them. We've got to influence them. We've got to nudge them until we are at the right point. That one was explained. I don't know why the honorable member went back to Bashir. Because that was explained. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, we come to question number 16, which was raised by the Honorable Mahambe Hlala. And I call upon the Honorable President to answer.
Honorable Speaker, the AU Summit in Malabo in 2014 had directed the African Union Commission to explore and prepare concrete actions in the implementation of priority programs and projects identified in Agenda 2063. The 25th African Union Summit that took place in South Africa in June 2015 adopted the first 10 years implementation plan of the African Union Agenda 2063. These include the integrated high-speed train network, accelerating the creation of the Continental Free Trade Area, the African passport, the implementation of the Yamoussoukro decision on the unification of the African airspace, the implementation of the Grand Inga Dam project, the Pan-African E-network, as well as the Presidential Infrastructure Championing Initiative, which is chaired by South Africa. The PICI is aimed at unblocking obstacles in the implementation of infrastructure development projects in the continent under the auspices of the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, PIDA. All these projects and programs are aimed at fast-tracking industrialization, inclusive growth, and sustainable development on the African continent. SADC has also developed a special program, the SADC Regional Industrialization Strategy, which is linked to the broader Continental Industrialization Program. With regards to economic diplomacy, it should be noted that Africa remains the centerpiece of South Africa's global economic strategy. South Africa has consistently championed broader regional integration through the Southern African Customs Union, SADC, the tripartite free trade area, as well as the envisaged continental free trade area. We promote economic integration that takes place on the three fronts, namely market integration, infrastructure development, and industrial development. We have also identified the urgent need to address the lack of manufacturing capacity in the majority of African countries. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Behlala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thanks, President, for your informative response. Is the private sector going to be afforded an opportunity to participate in the process leading to the establishment of the Continental Free Trade Union? Because already some are playing an instrumental role in our economic diplomacy program. Thank you.
Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, the private sector is going to play a role. In fact, they have been participating on the sidelines of these meetings, and they've been engaged, and they are part of the process, because there will be no serious industrialization without their participation. So Africa has felt it is important, they should be talked to, and they should indeed be part of the process. They are very happy as well. They are actually playing a role already, and we believe that the coordination is going to improve even more. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Ndlozi.
Mr. President, earlier on we raised the question of illicit financial flows, and you seemed to waffle when you answered. You kept speaking about systems and systems. And I suspect it's because you have not paid detailed attention to the Mbeki-led High Commission report on the continent in terms of the impact of illicit financial flows on industrialization. But maybe because Mbeki might have problems to read his reports. You said you studied the Marikana Commission report. It also put this question central. You held it for 90 days, remember, saying you are closely studying it. Now, please, advise us, because if you are talking about industrialization that affects the continent, one of the fundamental challenges is the phenomenon of tax-based erosion. What is your government's policy on tax-based erosion and illicit financial flows? Thank you.
Although I must point out that honorable members raise new questions, which are totally new questions. However, the President.
Honorable Speaker.
On point of order. Mr. Speaker.
A point of order, Chairperson.
Can you please,
on a point of order,
not be condescending?
A point of order.
I'm on a point of order.
Allow him to raise his point of order. I give him the opportunity.
We're talking about industrialization. If you don't appreciate that this question is related to what we are speaking about, maybe because you don't understand as well, please don't condescend my question. I think you must withdraw those. You said we must come for a question session. We ask questions, now you are condescending.
You might actually take your own advice, Honorable Ndlozi, but I want now to give the President the opportunity to proceed.
No.
I had a point of order, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Minister Zulu.
Well, the first point of order, Chair, is that not very long ago we were in this House and we decided on adopting rules that give guidance to this House. And we agreed in this House that members will speak only on the basis of them being pointed by the Speaker to speak. That's the first question. That's the first point of order. My second point of order, Chair, is this. I do not really believe that it is in order for any member of this House to be insultive to the Speaker of the House. The point of order here, Chair, is that all of us adopted a set of rules. And the set of rules cover each and every member who is in this house. Nobody else has got the right to stand up and abuse this platform of the house. So I request, Chairperson, I request, Speaker, that the rules that we adopted in this house
on a point of
must
order,
be
Madam
adhered.
Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think she's waffling in her preamble. She's disturbing the President. The President must continue answering the question. Can she sit down, please?
Honorable President.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, the African countries have taken a decision to industrialize the continent. It were also the AU that asked former President Mbeki to investigate the erosion of taxes insofar as the African countries. And he has given a report which should be looked at and to say what else can we do. It does not stop African leaders talking about what they want to do with regard to the industrialization of the continent. Nor can we wait until that matter is resolved. That's why we are talking about the industrialization that must happen as we move forward, as the African countries, to link Africa, to create integration and deal with those matters, whilst we are dealing with the outcomes of the report that Mbeki has produced, which he has presented it to the AU, and the AU has looked at it and has taken a decision what needs to be done insofar as that report. Whilst there is an erosion of taxes, but you can't stop moving forward whilst we are solving that particular problem. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Shengwa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mr. President, you also touched on the issue of the Southern African Customs Union, and I just want to now find out where do you place that, given the tension that is there in terms of the formula that is being used in terms of giving out monies to the member states at the end of each year. In the context, Mr. President, that there's a continental free trade area that is being mooted, and already in Egypt you have launched the tripartite free trade area. So the issue is then, what happens to SACU in all these free trade area agreements with which you are speaking about? Because there is already tension and there's suggestions that South Africa may be pulling out of SACU, and if that is the case, it would mean a collapse, by and large, of many of the countries which are member states of SACU who are wholly dependent on the money that flows out of SACU. So we need to be in a position to be able to place SACU and to find out, does it continue to exist, and if it does, in what context does it exist, particularly in the areas of the free trade area in which the continent is now moving towards. Thank you.
The Honorable President.
No, thank you, Madam Speaker. There is nothing like South Africa moving out of SACU. If that has been rumored, it is just an empty rumor. We are in SACU. We are discussing the matters of SACU within the framework of SACU, how to make it work better. There are a number of countries that belong to a number of organizations. Some of the countries that are part of SADC, they are also part of other regional organizations. These organizations, if we do the integration, I'm sure at a given time, we will look at whether and evaluate whether these organizations should exist or not. Because the proximity of other countries and other countries that may be in other regions may actually say you continue with other kind of formations, as long as their activities is helping the countries to develop rather than the countries to move backward. So there will be evaluation whether this is useful or not useful. We can't start by saying, even before we conclude the integration. We can't start by saying, let us now forget about other structures. The other approach might be how those structures dovetail to the structures that have developed. So we cannot have a definitive decision what is going to happen to other organizations once we reach a particular level. These are organizations that exist, that have been part of the economic interactions. As we develop, we'll look at them and see whether they are useful or not useful. We will then take decisions at that point. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Hill Lewis.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. President, your answers on economic questions today have really, I think, shown this House and shown South Africa how little interest you take and attention you pay to important issues of the economy on a daily basis. In fact, listening to your answers today, President, it's little wonder that our economy is in the condition that it is. But to the question at hand, President, for as long as one can find records, AU summits have always called for greater trade between African countries, but progress has been painfully slow. Last month, you and Minister Davies trumpeted the launch of negotiations on the tripartite FTA in Egypt. However, interestingly, even though most other African countries participating in those negotiations have signed the agreement, we have not. SA is by far the largest trading nation on the continent, and that we have not signed the agreement undermines the whole TFTA process. South Africa cannot have it both ways, Mr. President. We cannot expect free trade in Africa but practice protectionism here at home. So the question is, can you tell us why we have not yet signed the TFTA agreement? Can you commit today that we will sign the TFTA agreement? And can you tell us exactly when? Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
It does not mean, Honorable Speaker, that if we did not sign at a particular time, you may not sign at a given time. You might still be looking at other issues that you needed to do. You don't necessarily have to say when. It does not, unless we have expressly said we are not going to sign. That's a different matter. Other countries, South Africa might said, we'll be signing, we are still dealing with other issues. And it is going to depend when we deal with those issues. Issues that are known by government. Absolutely. You see, one of the things we need to do, if you want to be a government, unless you want to run a government from an opposition, if you want to run a government, win elections. Just win elections, then you can be part of those kind of issues. These are government issues, they are not opposition issues. We are not coming, we are not going to arrive. You are not going to arrive in any way. You will be coming until you are an old man, before we come in. You are not. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, sorry, I'm sorry to press the President on this, but actually I just asked for a simple commitment. Will we sign? Can he answer that question?
I've answered the question, Madam Chair.
May I address you, Madam Speaker?
On what, Honorable Steenhuisen?
On the point that we have these question sessions so we can get answers. It was a very simple question that was asked, and when the President doesn't answer simple questions like that, it undermines the whole process. So I would ask that the President answers the Honourable Lewis's question. Will South Africa sign the agreement?
On a point of order. The Honourable President has answered, maybe not to your satisfaction, but answered he has.
On a point of order. Speaker, I just wanted to indicate that that's the rule he should have passed here in the House, not of beating people. He should have passed rules to make sure
Honorable
we get answers.
Dozy, please take your seat now.
Now we are in a question session. They are helpless.
Honorable Steenhuisen, please, let's go to the next question.
Madam Speaker, the question has not been answered.
Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, the question has not been answered. It was a simple question. It wanted a yes or no answer. It didn't ask for a waffle with cream and chocolate.
Madam Speaker.
It asked
Madam
for
Speaker.
a specific
Madam Speaker.
question.
No, Honorable Steenhuisen,
can we call such
there was an answer from the podium.
Under which rule is standing up?
It's not.
Yeah, the bouncers.
It's not satisfactory. Is a different question.
He is out of order,
Honorable,
Madam Speaker.
just
He's
take
out
a
of
seat.
order.
Take a seat,
Under which
Honorable.
rule is he standing up?
Honorable members, we now go to question number 17, which has been asked by the Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition. The Honorable, the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. According to the World Investment Report released by United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in June 2015, aggregate global foreign direct investment inflows declined by 16% in 2001 as a result of the continued uneven and weak recovery of the global economy after 2008 global financial crisis. Not surprisingly, South Africa was also affected, and FDI inflows slowed by 8.3 billion rand, 8.3 US dollars in 2013. The FDI's report 2015 by FDI Intelligence, which tracks investment projects, also reports a decline in greenfield FDI projects globally. Nevertheless, South Africa still attracted a substantial 5.7 billion US dollars of foreign direct investment in 2014. South Africa was again the largest recipient of FDI on the African continent. South Africa also remains an attractive investment destination as per the latest Ernst & Young Attractive Destination Survey. Multilaterals have affirmed South Africa as a regional manufacturing hub and have retained and expanded their investments in new plants. Many companies have invested in expansions, upgrades, and new plants in South Africa. However, South Africa cannot be complacent. During the State of the Nation address, I announced a 9-point plan to push the economy forward, ignite growth, and create jobs. The 9-point plan consists of the following: revitalization of the agriculture and agro-processing value chain, advancing beneficiation and adding value to our mineral wealth, more effective implementation of a higher impact industrial policy action plan, unlocking the potential of SMMEs, cooperatives, townships, and rural enterprises, resolving the energy challenge, stabilizing the labor market, scalping up private sector investment, and growing the ocean economy. We are also investing in cross-cutting areas to reform, boost, and diversify the economy, which are interventions in 1, science and technology and innovation; 2, water and sanitation; 3, transport infrastructure; 4, broadband rollout; and 5, state-owned companies. Government is also committed to improve the investment climate and enhance the ease of doing business. The one top interdepartmental clearinghouse to attend to investor complaints and problems which are announced in the State of the Nation address has been established, located at the Department of Trade and Industry. In addition to South Africa being a destination for FDI, we are now also an important source of FDI on the African continent. Honorable Speaker, the African continent is the next growth frontier. South Africa is in the fortunate position of having identified the growth opportunities in our continent many years ago. This is why our trade policy priorities regional development through the tripartite free trade area, which was signed last month in Egypt, as well as the envisaged continental free trade area. These agreements do not only open the door for South African exports, they also provide investment opportunities for companies owned by South Africans or which are domiciled in South Africa. These investments show the extent to which South African entrepreneurs and companies have become serious participants in the global economy due to successes at home. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
I see the old alliance between the EFF and the ANC is back together and strong. It should.
On a point of order, on a point of order. Musi, you went to vote for rules with these people.
No.
To beat up the members of parliament. You come here, you tell us we've got an we don't have any alliance with these people, man. You voted for them, man. You came here and voted for members of parliament to be beaten. You did that.
Honorable members.
How?
Can we have order in the House?
With the ANC to assault members of parliament, and then you come here, you tell us we are in alliance with the
Honorable
ANC.
Malema,
it should be
can you please take your seat?
This person. He's out of order.
Can you please take your seat?
Madam Speaker, he must withdraw because he voted with the ruling party. He must withdraw and never make such insinuation henceforth.
And Honorable Maimane,
He
can you
must
please
withdraw.
proceed with
Yeah,
your
withdraw.
I can't because it's.
I must withdraw.
Honorable Gadi, please take your seat.
Yeah, I must withdraw.
It serves the president. So I'd rather proceed, Honorable Speaker.
Madam Speaker, there's no proceeding until this guy withdraws what he's saying because he's talking things that are not there. So he's proceeding nowhere. He must withdraw what he's saying. He's talking nonsense here.
Madam Speaker.
Mamukhaula. Akho umuntu ofuna ukuthi kushawe. Asihlale phansi nje siqhube nomsebenzi. Hlala phansi Mamukhaula.
Inkinga ngoba kufuna sishawe siyaqhukuluzwa manje
ngicela uhlale
phansi sebenza sihlalo
awuhlale phansi Mamukhaula.
Okay ngizohlala akadrowe lento ayishoyo uyasukela silindele impi makufanele liwe lana Sigqokile lutho ubona nje siyadunusa manje bonakale.
I need to actually check the Hansard of what he was saying about the EFF. So I will check on that.
Yeah.
But Honorable Steenhuisen, what is your point?
Madam Speaker, I rise on Rule 61. Now, the Honourable Malema referred to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition as Musi. We know in this House we call each other either Mr. Mayamani or Honourable Mayamani. But it seems very clear that they can't take their own medicine. They're happy to dish it out. They can't take it.
Honourable Maimane, can you proceed with your supplementary question?
Thank you, Chair. It should be the BFF, but let's continue. Honourable President, when you came into office in 2009, unemployment sat at 31%. Today, it stands at 34.9%. 66% of that is young South Africans. 70% of that is black youth. Mr. President, it's become clear that in 2011, when you came in, you told South Africa that you would create 5 million jobs. Instead, in the same period of time, we have lost 1.7 million people who can't find work. In this instance, other African states are growing at a level much higher than us. Honorable President, it's quite clear to me that we in fact face a job crisis. And it's epitomized by what's happening in the mining sector, manufacturing sector. My difficulty here, Honorable President, is that you have had Minister Patel, who's been here, tabling different economic plans that change from one day to the next. When are you going to get rid of him? If we are going to continue with just soaring levels of unemployment, is he fit to keep his job as Minister of
Honorable
Economic Development?
Maimane, your time has expired for your question.
My question is Honorable Patel going to keep his job if we have soaring levels of unemployment continuing? Thank you very much.
The President. I want to advise honorable members not to spend their 1 minute making speeches when in fact they only need to get on with the supplementary question. The President.
Honorable Minister Patel is going to keep his job. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Matthias.
Madam Speaker, it is clear that the government of the President over-reliance on FDIs is not working for the poorest of the poor in this country. That with our strong, massive and protected industrialization, South Africa's reliance on FDIs will remain where it is. The people in in Queenstown, in Whittlesea, in Botshabelo, in Kwagga, who used to get employment in industries around those areas, are asking this question: when are FDIs going to give them employment? Two,
Honorable Matthias, you are allowed only one question.
This is a continuation of the same question, Madam Speaker. That FDIs come here through multinational companies, whom some members of the cabinet of the minister, our shareholders, have interest in those. Now, the question is, what is the president going to do with the deputy president, Cyril Ramaphosa's company, Lonmin, which has diverted 1.2 billion of rents through illicit outflow, financial outflows? What is your government going to do with an outright, obvious case of corruption and fraud that has been exposed through the Marikana report?
The Honorable the President.
Madam Speaker, the government does not interfere with business, private sector. Otherwise, we will be chasing everybody. If companies take their decisions as companies, no matter who they belong to, it's their business to do so. You can't do anything about it. That's how business is run. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. But I'm just making a general principle that if companies take decisions about their companies, government can't come and say, don't do this. We can't do so. We can't. We can't run companies, private companies. We run government. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
What's the point of order, Honorable
The President is not deliberately misleading the House when he says it does not know whether they do it or no.
Honorable Kaji, that's not a point of order, Honorable
made
Member.
a finding that Lonmin company of the Deputy President
please
has
take your seat. That's not a point of
tax
order.
by taking out 1.3 billion rand out to tax haven countries. You can't say that I don't know. It is his own
Honorable
commission
Kaji,
that
please
made
take
that
your
funding.
seat. You are now out of order.
But Honorable Chair, with due respect,
Honorable Malema.
the President can't say when people take out the money which is supposed to come into the fiscus
Honorable
of the country.
Malema, can
and
I
say they
advise
must-
you that if you believe in what you are saying, you must bring it to this House as a
That's what he
substantive.
brought.
No, he must bring it as a substantive motion with accompanying evidence of all the things that you are saying.
So if these people, President, take their money into
Honorable
tax havens
Malema,
illegally,
please
like
take your
Lonmin did in Marikana of Cyril, that must be allowed.
Honorable Malema, please take your
It's
seat.
out of order, that thing.
No,
This
please
man
take
is
your
part
seat.
of the people who are stealing the money in this country. Illicit financial flows. The master is the Deputy President.
The Honorable, the President. President, Ebesekhulumile.
No, I've answered that question.
Yes. I now call upon Honorable Nkomo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable President, yesterday, the mining minister took the decision of revoking a license to operate, which was owned by one of the few major global mining groups who have been prepared to invest in South Africa. What kind of signal does this send to foreign investors who are looking for a suitable political climate within which to operate? Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. I didn't hear who did that. I was distracted.
Proceed, Honorable Nkomo.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, the mining minister took the decision of revoking a license to operate, which was owned by one of the few major global mining groups who have been prepared to invest in South Africa, that's Glencore. What kind of signal does this send to foreign investors who are looking for a suitable political climate within which to operate? Thank you.
The Honorable, the President.
Well, Madam Speaker, the minister has not reported this to me. So I don't know what are the facts around that decision. I'm just hearing the honorable member talking about this decision. Now, I can't answer that question because I don't have the report, a detailed report that says these are the decisions that made this one to be taken. Unfortunately, I wouldn't guess. I can't be a Sangoma. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Van Rooyen.
Ha ke leboge Musa Khotla. Musa Khotla, even if we agree that something that is a popular economic theory of capital, that foreign direct investment exert positive impact on economic growth. We equally don't agree that they are the only determinants for economic growth. But also equally so, Musa Khotla, we think that over-reliance on foreign direct investments deny us an opportunity to focus on domestic investment, but also deny us an opportunity to turn our market into extremely efficient markets. Now, His Excellency, the question that I want to pose, because that's why we support this 9-point plan. The question that I want to pose, His Excellency, is what are the lessons in rolling out the 9-point plan? What are the lessons that have been learned? But also the progress, just to give a progress on the implementation of the 9-point plan. I thank you.
The Honorable the President.
No, thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, there is a progress that is being made by the different departments on the 9-point plan. They unveiled in the Lekgotla what is it that has happened on the 9-point plan, all the 9-point plan. So there has been a progress that has been made. I'm sure if the honorable members want to get that report, we can certainly give that detailed report. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
We now come to the last question asked by the Honorable J.S. Malema to the President of the Republic. The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The matter relating to the security upgrades in Nkandla is being discussed by Parliament through the ad hoc committee on the police minister's report. I have also responded to Parliament on this matter before. I submitted a report to the Speaker and to the Speaker in August last year. I believe the question is premature as matters have not yet been concluded by this very House. I will respond further to the debate around this matter once all processes have been concluded. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Malema.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The President is not answering my question because I'm not talking about those other things you are talking about. But before I go there, it is so embarrassing that your minister attacks judiciary, you know nothing about it. Your minister closes a mine, Glencoe, you know nothing about it. And that becomes a response of a sitting state president, which is a huge embarrassment for this country, Mr. President. The Nkandla matter has been a big problem for all of us because we believe strongly that you must pay something. So don't tell me about video games of Ntleko. I don't recognize those video games. He must go and play them with his kids in his house. The only report which is legitimate and legal, is the Advocate Tulima Dontsela's report. And not these illegal activities which has been happening here in this parliament, ANC ad hoc committee on Tleko's report, helped by the opposition to undermine Thuli Madonsela's report. My question is very simple, Mr. President. When are you paying back the money? Because that is what the public protector said you must do. Not who must do what and all those things. You have never responded, even on the report you wrote to Parliament. You have never given a date and the method you are going to use. You can engage any other process, it will not help you because it comes back to one question. When are you paying back the money? So that is the question South Africans want to know, and that is the answer we are prepared to accept, not any other form of answer except the date and the method you are going to use to pay back the money.
The Honorable, the President.
Honorable Speaker, I've answered this question. I have.
Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable Shibambu.
But,
I have
he
a
has
list.
not answered the question.
I have a
question
list
about paying back the money. When is he going to do so?
Honorable Shibambu, I said earlier on in this House, when Honorable Steenhuisen was standing there, he might not like the answer, but that an answer had been given.
This is a question
factual.
and answer session, by the way.
It's factual
question and answer.
that there is an answer which you are not happy about, but an answer nonetheless. That's what I'm trying to prevail on you.
On the point
about.
of order, Speaker.
No, honourable members.
On the point of order, Speaker.
No, honourable
on
member.
the point of order, Speaker. I need to address you on one thing.
No.
I think there is a growing trend by yourself, all you speakers, that when the president answers questions, he answers the way he wishes and he says, I have answered. I think it defeats the role of this very same House, that you as the speaker to facilitate discussions, you would support the scenario when a question is asked, it's not answered satisfactorily, and you want us to just do business like that. I think it is self-defeating for the purpose of this House, and I think you as speaker has a responsibility to protect the integrity of this House. But at all times when questions are asked, they must be answered satisfactorily. And we can't allow that to proceed anymore, because it means the president must not come to Parliament. What is the purpose of the president to come to Parliament?
Member,
if he comes to Parliament, answers questions the way he wishes, and you support that as a presiding officer. You have a duty to all of us.
You have not been given
you have a duty to South Africans.
The floor.
The issue of Nkandla, Honourable Speaker, has the profile has risen outside there. It has risen. I'm from school as I'm here today. My classmate said that when you go to Parliament, you must go and ask a question on Nkandla. We have been on the ground when there was constituency time. The community have been saying, go and ask the president on the question of Nkandla. We can't have a scenario where you as speaker, we need to protect the function of this parliament, continue to undermine that function.
A point of order, Chair. Point of order.
Okay.
Point of order.
I now, yes, Honorable Zulu.
Honorable Speaker, we keep repeating one and the same thing. We adopted a rule that does not allow members to speak without being given permission. Now, a situation is being created in the House where some honorable members stand up and make statements, long statements, without interjection. Honorable Speaker, it is not acceptable. There is supposed to be order in the House. Then the rules of this House are not meant for one side and not the other side of the House. We beg, Honorable Speaker, we can't have some honorable members standing up and grandstanding and insulting this House without.
Order. You know, Honorable Speaker, Mistress Ginger must not do this. Why are you allowing Mistress Ginger to talk like this? It's not going to happen. President Zuma has not responded to a simple question as to when he's going to. I'm speaking, Honorable Speaker. I want President Zuma to respond.
You have
President,
no right to speak
when are you going to pay back the man?
You.
Oh.
I have not recognized you. I had not recognized Honorable Chewane. had not recognized him. And honorable members just take upon them. No, honorable member.
May I be recognized?
No, honorable.
Then I'm going to have to ask, when is the president
No,
going to
honorable
comply with the
member.
recommendations of the public protector and pay back the money?
I am recognizing Honorable Mulder.
Honourable Speaker, I'm a bit concerned that we've come through this process. The EFF had the opportunity to ask their question, and it seems that now we are being put in a position where we cannot continue. I ask you to please continue with the questions, for the follow-up questions in terms of the list that you've received, that we can proceed with the proceedings.
We stood up and you recognized the man over there. This is a tendency of ignoring us.
Honorable Paulson, this session is a question session for all honorable members of this House to participate in.
Can I ask a
And
question?
I have now the honorable member Holomisa.
Can I ask a question?
And after him,
Speaker,
it will
since
be
it's a question
Honorable
time.
Steenhuisen. After that, it's an honorable member of the NFP.
Speaker,
We can't have
on the
members
point of
from
order. Can you
one
recognize me,
party
please?
just holding the floor.
Please recognize me because the
No,
president
I'm not
does
prepared
not respect this House.
No,
He's
honorable
got no
member.
respect of the Constitution. He's got no respect of the law of this
Honorable
country.
member, I have not
All we're asking
recognized
him
you.
is when is he going to pay the money? It's a simple question. It's a simple question. And we're asking at the right platform because this is a question and answer section. Thank you.
Honorable Holomisa, as a follow-up for the follow-up.
Honorable Speaker, point of order, please.
No.
I'm here.
No, I am recognizing your leader, Honorable Holomisa.
Yeah, I want you to recognize him, please.
Yes, that's what I've done.
That's what I'm standing here for.
Honorable
Please.
Holomisa. Honorable Holomisa.
Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable Mbata, take your seat.
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Mbata, I have not recognized you. Can you take your
Honorable
seat?
Mbata, umbuzo ulula ukuthi umongameli uzokhokha nini? Akakawuphenduli lo mbuzo, besicela uphendule.
Speaker, our leader must speak now.
Honorable Holomisa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
On a point of order, Speaker.
Mr.
On a
President,
point of order, Speaker.
Our leader must not resist that. He must
On a
speak.
point
It
of
is
order,
time.
Speaker. Sit down, man. You didn't.
No.
Sit down.
Our leader must speak.
You members,
Sit
sit
down.
down, man.
Hey,
Honorable Speaker. These people must.
I have not recognized you, Honorable Member. Please take your seat.
This UDM mustn't be allowed to speak here. They haven't even got 6%. Honorable Speaker, can I please address you?
No, I don't want you to address me, Honorable Member. I have recognized Honorable Holomisa. I have recognized Honorable Holomisa.
Ngamalala, ayifuna ukuphela
On a point of
mntakwethu.
order, Speaker. Speaker, on a point of order.
No.
There's a matter of Nkandla being raised in this House. And the President has
Honorable
not
Member,
responded to that.
I have not recognized you.
Honorable Speaker, recognize me.
I'm not recognizing you
Honorable Speaker,
because I have
you
already
can't jump
recognized
up and
an
down
honorable
with
member.
Questions. You can't jump up and down. There's a matter raised
Honorable
here.
Mukause,
And the President must
take your
respond
seat.
to that.
Honorable Mukause,
When is the President
take
paying
your
back?
seat.
Honorable Speaker, may we address you and assist you in this?
No, that's the answer.
It is going to be in the interest of progress.
No,
if only
Honorable
you can,
Kadi.
listen.
No, that's the answer. Because there's an honorable member recognized by the chair who
Madam
is
Speaker,
standing there.
it's a point of order. We need to address you in a point of order. It
I am
arises
saying
out of
the
rules
answer is no.
of Parliament. The rule allows us to raise a point of order, and a point of order cannot be refused.
You don't have a limitless right to abuse the rules of the House on the basis that you can continue going up and down, disrupting us, because you believe that you can tell us that is because of a rule.
We want
Honorable Gadi, please take your seat.
Honorable Speaker.
Please, honorable
question
members,
to the president
the
is when is
person
he going
I
to
have
pay back the
recognized
money?
is Honorable Olomisa.
You must give us a date.
Recognize me, Speaker.
Honorable Olomisa, please talk.
Mr. President.
Speaker, on a point of privilege. The government of for is simple as well. It's simple. The government of President refers to the Republic with the soya with such a current account.
Honorable Speaker, we've tolerated this for too long. This is absolute nonsense. We have a right to be here. We are not going to be told by you when to speak. My leader is on the floor. He's going to speak. I know, Chief. No, but
Honorable Mulauzi. Honorable Mulauzi, take your seat.
Yeah, I wanted to help you.
No, but I don't want your help, Honorable Mulauzi. Take your seat.
Okay.
But Speaker, you must protect us.
Okay.
Honorable.
All right. Mr. President, the public protector.
Ke se ke hlomphile ne re kopa fela ho botsa ha se ha re lwane e ne le re fela re fumane tlhakise hore na mookamedi wa naha Ntate Zuma o patala jwang neng tjhelete ya setjhaba ke yona potso fela ne re kopa hore re hlakisetswe ko mookamedi wa naha motsamaisi wa dipuisano.
Honorable Murapela, I have not given you the right to speak. And I can tell that the honorable members of the EFF are now bent on disrupting the business of the
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable
Speaker. I'm sitting here.
Honorable Speaker.
I'm sitting here. Don't generalize. I'm sitting down.
Honorable Speaker.
Please. Don't generalize. If that is the plan, it won't work. I'm sitting down. Please.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable member, please sit down.
Okay, ndiyacela kaloku, ndiyacela mhlonipheki wam. Utata lo ungupresident. Engekaphenduli. Akukho nto izolunga kule ndlu, ndandikhe ndatsho nakuqala. Kuthi xa kufika kule ndawo yasenkandla kuvele kushukuma isizwe ination hayi i-EFF. Nina nicinga noba i-EFF lifuna le mali. Sifuna imali sisizwe. Notata makaphendule iparlamente izosebenze kakuhle. Ewe.
Honorable Sonti.
Ewe.
Khawuhlale phansi sisi.
Hleli kodwa ndiyayivintole.
Musa khotla potso fela ya gore mo presidente o patala le madi ke ole ka ntshang ya etsa modumo kana kana ka gore tshenyo yona e etsagetse re bone presidente a goge tšhelete jana fela kwa bankeng a patele madi a setšhaba.
Somlomo. Somlomo. Azibona into enzima into ebangela uba upresident angatsho uba uyoyibhatala nini imali. Sifuna nje uqonda uba uyoyibhatala nini kanjani.
Hayi khona kulungile phela manje angithi ndisabani thina ngoba already sanisiqashela abantu abazosibulala basibulele lenkandla le mali. Lalela abantu bayayifuna le mali hayi ngoba kuyithina siyi-EFF. And president khona into embi oyenzayo ukuthi wena uzosilethela manje inkabi la. Okwesibili wena ufaswa na iKZN besihlushwa ama-ZP esibulala manje uzothatha imali yabantu behlupheke eSouth Africa uzoqasha abantu bagqokisa black and white bezobulala thina ubakhokhela 30,000. This is wrong into yenzayo. Ngiyakubonga honorable members. And ihlazo lelo lenzayo uzosibulala la eSouth Africa. It's obvious that the honorable members, whether their leader is sitting or not sitting, are bent on disrupting the progress. You are. Because right now you are saying, unless we recognize you and allow only you, we can't proceed with the rest of the list of people who must be recognized as part of this question session. I recognize Honorable Holomisa.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Laulegan,
Microphone.
Laulegan.
The microphone,
Okay, Jude.
please. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Testing,
I
one,
have
two.
recognized, I've recognized the Honorable Holomisa.
Honorable Speaker, we wanted to allow Honorable Holomisa to ask the follow-up question. You are recognized.
Thank you. Honorable
Honorable Shibambu.
Point of order, Chair. Point of order.
Honorable Shibambu, that's out of order.
Yes, that's out of order.
You are not the one deciding when and who is recognized.
All right, Mama. Amalala, Pagama Mtlegas, no Mr. President, the public protector investigated your private property, made findings, and took appropriate remedial actions against you, not the cabinet nor this parliament. Don't you consider to save this house and the nation by simply applying for a judicial review, given that you have challenged the findings by the public protector, and this house cannot act as an appeal authority on a matter that does not belong here? Masise Mhlekazi, ngaphandle silandele pha kumama uPensihlakula naye owayethe wawufunyanisa uba khona into wrong wayi-challenge outside siqhubeleke nomsebenzi. Nkosi.
The Honorable the President.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. The public protector reports to Parliament, and she has done so. And she has made recommendations, because one of the mistakes I think some members are making is to believe that she made a judgment. It's not a judgment. It's a recommendation that Parliament must deal with. And Parliament is seized with the issue.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Conclusion,
on a point of order, Madam
and it will
Speaker.
take a decision on
Madam
the basis
Speaker, on a point of order
Honorable
to assist
Gadi,
the President.
discussion that
Honorable
would have
Gadi,
gone
please
on in this
don't
Parliament.
interrupt in the middle of a
So
statement.
that is
But
my
the
answer to
President
you.
is
No, Honorable
misleading
Gadi.
the nation.
Mr.
and
No,
the
Honorable
Holomisa.
Gadi, you are wrong. Please take your seat.
Thank you, Madam
Can I
Speaker.
be recognized, Madam Speaker,
No.
on a point of order?
You
The
must
President-
allow yourself not to be recognized sometimes. It's fine.
It's a point of order,
I
Madam
now
Speaker.
recognize Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, we request to be recognized to assist the country and the House on the misleading statement by the President. Can we be
Honorable
allowed that
Steenhuisen,
process?
please, you are on the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Shibambu, please allow Honorable Steenhuisen to speak.
But Honorable Speaker, can you please?
The answer is no. When I'm not allowing you, I'm not allowing you. Allow
order is
other
the
honorable
procedure in this
members
House.
to also speak. Don't hoard the space.
But a point of order is allowed in this House. Where do you get the authority to deny?
Because your points of order are actually not points
You
of
do
order.
not know what
I
we're going to
am
speak
telling
about.
you. Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
But Speaker, this is unfair what you are doing.
We have rights as members of parliament to rise on a point of order. Rule 70. It allows us. Hey, angikhulumi nawe wena. Just shut up wena. Madam Speaker, can you treat us fairly here?
You
Can
must
you be
also
a chairperson
behave
of this
in a
house?
manner that allows the House to proceed in an orderly fashion.
We do want to do that under Rule 70.
No, Honorable.
And Rule 70 allows us, Madam Speaker, but you just ill-treat us. You are treating us as stepchildren in this house. Madam Speaker, we are voted to be here.
Madam Speaker, you called us to order earlier on. We sat down. We listened to the question of Honorable Olomis. In the process of the President answering, there was a point of order. It's only fair that we follow the rules.
No, Honorable.
Don't preempt us, Honorable Speaker, please. Please. Allow Honorable Gadi to call her order, and then you make a ruling about it. That's how it is.
Honorable Malema.
Unfortunately, Speaker, it's supposed to be like that. It doesn't matter how much we irritate you. Don't be irritated to a point where you forget the rules.
Honorable Malema,
I know it can be an irritation sometimes, but we are a necessary irritation. Please allow us
because you are a leader
to
of a
speak to you.
political party.
Let's
Can
allow
I
order.
ask you to please help and be leader-like?
Absolutely, I have no problem. That's why I'm leading. Allow Honorable Gadi to call a point of order.
Honorable Steenhuisen, I've seen the two hands, Honorable Singh and Honorable Mulder, but I'd like to allow Honorable Steenhuisen to proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's amazing when the Democratic Alliance first raised the issue of Nkandla, and we're fighting this very hard, the other members of this House are running around saying they were going to take up arms and kill for Zuma. Now they want to send a bill to Zuma.
And you have passed a rule to people to come here and kill us. You passed the rule. You passed the rule that people must come here and kill us. Don't be a racist, Honorable Steenhuisen. Don't be a racist. Be transformed. This is a new day. You are the one that passed the rule for people to come beat people up here. You are worse because you are in Parliament and you passed the rule in Parliament.
Thank you.
You enjoy the beating of black people, I think.
We don't support the use of violence in any matter. Let me say that with reference to the Western Cape High Court judgment, where Justice Skipper said, and I quote, "It seems so that before rejecting the findings or remedial action of the public protector, the relevant organ of state must have cogent reasons for doing so. That is for reasons other than merely a preference for its own view." Mr. President, can you explain on what basis in law have the recommendations of the public protector made in her report Secure and Comfort with respect to Nkandla, and I said it right, been substituted by those of the Minister of Police, who was appointed by you, reports to you, and owes his political existence to you?
The Honorable the President.
Honorable Speaker, as I understand, the public protector brought the report to Parliament, and the Parliament engaged
A point of
in
order,
the
Madam
process
Speaker.
of
If only,
doing
Madam Speaker,
its
you
own
can
work.
listen to this point of order,
And then
we
in
will
the
be
process
able
of
to
that, you have
to
moved
deal with the misleading statement of the
and there
President.
were recommendations.
Give us that opportunity.
You allow
the
the
minister
person who's on the floor to speak and finish.
Do what is asked by the report of the public protector, that the Minister of Police will make a determination. And this is what the Minister of Police has done. And your Parliament is at the moment discussing the issue after the visit that they made at Nkandla. The process is still on. I don't see why should I come to the point of law and determine why this must be done or that one. You have a process as this House, which is not yet concluded. And you are doing what we were supposed to do with the report that was brought to you. It was not just brought to you to look at it. The recommendations were there. You were supposed to say what then should happen. And the process has moved forward. I'm saying the process has not been completed. Why then should we think we should have a final word? I don't see any logic to it. Absolutely. Thank you,
Honorable Mulder.
Madam Speaker, we have requested to be recognized.
Thank you, Honorable.
I have not recognized you.
There is a point of
You
order.
say you have requested, so can you just take a seat?
But can we deal with a point of order? Because
I have recognized Honorable Mulder, and I would like you to take a
the
seat.
House, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I've asked to be recognised, and you've recognised me. I think we've got a problem, Honourable Speaker, and we all know that this is a rather serious matter. The problem is this, that the President, in his original reply to the question of the Honourable Malema, as well as to the subsequent questions being asked, in all respects replied by saying, Parliament is busy with its own process, and the process has not been finalised. That's what the essence of the President's questions were. But, Madam Speaker, the problem is this. When the question was asked, it was allowed by the Questions Office to be put on the order paper for today. And I think that the Question Office liaises with the Presidency when questions are sorted out. Now, the problem is, if the questions were not to be handled today because the process has not been finalised, it should not be on the order paper for today's business, or the question paper. So we've got a problem now. It was accepted as a valid question. It's on the order paper to be dealt with, but we do not get the answers because the President is of the view that Parliament's process has not been completed. And that creates a problem to the frustration of all.
Thank you, Honorable Mulder. I want to recognize the last supplementary question, and that is from the NFP.
Madam Speaker, we have requested to address you on a point of order on the matter of the President's reply. Are you refusing, Madam Speaker?
I'm not recognizing you right now for now putting yourself ahead of the people I have in my list that I want to recognize. Honorable,
point of order, Madam
from
Speaker.
the NFP.
So, Madam Speaker, I just want to prevent a very serious situation here.
Cannot happen like that.
On a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order.
The President.
No. Honorable Musi cannot.
Sorry.
Can we allow? Can I allow the NFP first to proceed?
We can't.
No, there are other points of order there in the EFF.
If we continue, we are in danger, Honorable Speaker.
Can I prevail on you to allow the NFP to speak? Then I'll come back to you.
Okay, if you come back to me, that's fine.
The NFP. Not Honorable Singh. I know you've been having your hand up. I've seen it.
Okay.
Honorable Singh, I've seen your hand, and I'll come back. I'll recognize you.
Thank you.
Honorable Msibi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. President, what is not in dispute is that the money spent on the Nkandla upgrade is far in excess of the value of the project. And Mr. President, I think you can see here today the state of this honorable House as a result of Nkandla. In fact, it appears there are only two issues that dominate this House. That's Marikana and Nkandla. And if that goes away, Mr. President, it would appear that some members will have nothing to debate about.
Mr. Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker.
Mr. President.
Order, Madam Speaker. He's not going to talk.
Mr. President, what could you do?
This one is not going to talk. This one. He's not.
No, Honorable
then
Kadi.
let's call police. This one is not.
Honorable Kadi, you are not going to. You are not going to decide who's going to talk. Please proceed. Please Please
Madam
finish,
Speaker,
honourable member.
we know what this man is looking for a position. We know very well, so he must not start with us.
Please finish your question.
Mr. President, I won't go to the EFF because they don't have anything to offer. Mr. President, what can you do as the head of state to accelerate this process and bring this matter to a closure so that those that have unduly benefited is done? What could you do, Mr. President, to facilitate and accelerate this process? And I'm aware that there are processes in place so that this matter could be brought to a speedy conclusion, so that anyone that has unduly benefited will immediately be able to pay back. Thank you, Mr.
Can the President respond, Honourable President?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, unfortunately, I don't have the authority to interfere with this issue. As far as I know, there's a parliamentary process that is ongoing. There is a process arising out of the investigation that was done of people who are being charged. And I'm sure during the cases, it will come to light. If there were people who ate money, who are those people? There are processes that I cannot interfere, even if I'm a president. I can't interfere with investigation and court proceedings or parliamentary proceedings. You know, if I said anything before these processes are over, I will actually be interfering and doing a wrong thing. These processes are as a result of the investigation, and I think the normal thing is to allow these processes to come to their conclusions, and then we react to the final conclusions or outcomes. So that's the reason why I can't interfere. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Before I recognize you, Honourable Maimane, can I take Honourable Singh?
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I trust you are giving me the opportunity to ask a question.
No.
No, all right. Then I must rise on a point of order. But I don't know if it's relevant at this stage of the game because all the questions have been asked. But in any case, I want to put it on record that some honourable members are very rich in their demeanour here to talk about respecting the rules of this House. Rule 49 says, precedence of presiding officer. Whenever the presiding officer rises during a debate, which means when you speak, Madam Speaker, any member then speaking or offering to speak shall resume his or her seat, and the presiding officer shall be heard without interruption. That did not happen in this House today, and it's sad that that did not happen because members of this House do not respect the very rules that we've drawn up for ourselves. That's the point I wanted to make, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Singh. Honourable Maimane.
Thanks, Speaker. I just wanted to, it's a point that the President made, which is to say the process of Parliament is being done. The issue is, in the Public Protector's report, it says, yes, the President must take assistance with National Treasury and the SABC to determine a reasonable amount. The second point to that says pay back a reasonable percentage of the costs as determined with the assistance of National Treasury. The question on the order paper speaks to the second step, whether the President is prepared to make a payment of a percentage of the costs, not the first, which is the process that ad hoc committees...
Point of order.
Honourable Chief Whip.
Madam Speaker, he's not going to talk. I have raised a point of order before.
Honourable Gadi,
I don't get permission from you, Gadi,
you
to
keep
speak.
making these instructions.
Honourable Gadi, I don't get permission from you to speak. The point of order, Honourable Speaker. We have always been disciplined and patient. We have come to a point where there is no further supplementary question. Why can't we stop this process and this abuse, please?
Thank you very much,
Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Chief Whip.
Honourable Speaker.
No, Honourable...
I will be very brief. Just brief. It's very
I'm
clear.
I'm just being generous.
Yes, thank you.
Honourable members.
And today you have been so nice, you know. You didn't call those people outside there. So this is the type of leadership we want. It's very clear we will never get an answer, Mr. President. Let's meet in court. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, the President has responded to all questions on the order paper, and therefore the question session is over. The House is adjourned, honorable members. There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thanks. Please be seated. Order. Honorable members, the only item on today's order paper is questions addressed to the President. Members may press the talk button on their desks if they wish to ask a supplementary question. The first question has been asked by the Honorable
Speaker. Before you start, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask a question for clarity. On the question paper.
What is the question for clarity?
Thanks, Madam Speaker. When you look at the question paper, you will recognize that the symbols and the marking of the question paper, when you go to the question of EFF, the star is not clear.